You can't, because the president can demagogue those issues if you don't have him on board, or her on board, whichever the case may be. It takes presidential leadership to make a real solid dent in entitlement programs. And frankly, President Obama, I don't think is willing to lead. As he said, he's not going to do anything about Social Security. Well, that's the minor problem in it's in the Social Security. We don't have enough money coming in on Social Security to pay it out. We have to tap the general fund right now. But the big ones are Medicaid and Medicare. What did they do in the Obama bill? They took over $500 billion out of Medicare that is unsustainable. It's $38 trillion in unfunded liability as we sit here. They took $500 billion and put it in other entitlement programs that are unsustainable. Now, it doesn't take any brains to say, that's not the right thing to do. But that's what they're doing. And whose future is being mortgaged? Mortgage is a nice word. It goes beyond mortgage. Whose future is being ruined? It's yours. It's yours. And sooner or later, our young people in this country got to stand up and say, hey, I want to be liberal, but my gosh, I want to be compassionate, but my gosh, I want to do right by other people, but my gosh. We can't keep spending. We can't keep taking away liberty. We can't keep having one-size-fits-all federal government approvals for everything. Yes, sir, in the back.
First of all, I'd like to thank you, Senator Hatch, for being here to answer questions. I'm Bryce Bell. I'm from Durham, Utah. My major is molecular biology. And just in the discussion of budget cuts and spending, would you ever support cuts in the defense budget, considering it's one of our largest expenditures, in terms of not only just cutting down costs, but then also maybe reapportioning money to things that need it badly, such as education?
Of course, anybody would. If we can be shown that there are expenditures there that shouldn't be made, and I think it can be. I think there are some things that are excessive. You know, it's so difficult to do defense work, so they'll have contracts all over the various states so that you can get it through. And a lot of that is inefficient. On the other hand, if you put it in 2 or 3 states, you can't get the votes to do anything because the left will come in and say you're spending too much on the military. So that's why that system is, and it's just one aspect of the system. But where there's excess, we should cut it out no matter where it is. And that includes health care, it includes Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, and it also means the Defense Department. On the other hand, it's penny wise and pound foolish to not keep this nation strong, because we're kind of a federal republic that works in a sea of antagonism all over the world, and the rest of the world depends on us. They don't do their share. Some do. I mean, there are some little countries that are really helping us in some of these areas, but their help is relatively small compared to what we need to have from other countries. The larger countries aren't carrying their load. But the United States is the country that everybody looks to. But we also have to look to our own needs as well. And that's important. Again, I'll bring it back to you. Look, I have 6 children. Elaine and I have 6 children, 23 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren. I mean, I'm concerned about not just them, but you. You guys are at a great university. You're going to have advantages that other people won't have. But even you might have some trouble finding some jobs in the future because of the way things are. I don't want that to happen. It is really important that you continue your education. And you are so fortunate to be at this great institution. Not just because you have a great basketball team and are going to have a great football team. I think it's pretty good anyway. I know your coach is very, very good. Yeah, one of the best university presidents in the country here. And he wants to stay here. Now that's worth money in the bank to me. But I've seen president after president come and use it as a stepping stone. When this is a great community. This is a great university. It's the best in the world in some aspects. This university gets more federal dollars per capita than any other university in the country. Now, does that tell you something? You're lucky to be here. So why be stupid? Okay, why not learn everything you possibly can? Let me tell you, it's to your advantage to do so. I'm sorry to preach to you, but I love to preach. Not really, I'm just kidding.
We'll take one more question unless you say otherwise.
I'm just getting started here.
We were going to take one more question, and then you'll have a chance, if you want to come up, for about a half an hour to meet him and shake his hand.
We'll take two. We'll take two back there, and then we'll take two, okay? Remind me now. I get wound up on 3 questions, it looks like. There's one behind you, 2 behind you. Go ahead, I'll try and be quick.
So you repeatedly said that we need to do something to make our futures brighter as students. So what do you suggest we do?
Number 1, keep your education up. Number 2, get involved. Number 3, get behind candidates you think really are good. Number 4, and by the way, I'm really good, so I'd like to have all of these. So get behind it. Number 5, run for state delegate. I mean, you ought to do it. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and you learn a lot. I remember when my good friend Ronald Reagan, I'm the only person to my knowledge that he ever pre-primary endorsed. But very close. I went to 36 states for Reagan in 1980. And I remember that he came here to campaign for me under certain circumstances. But we had kids all over the place helping with Ronald Reagan. There were kids on the governor's plan. It was Governor Reagan. And they got involved, and today some of those are in Congress. They're leaders in the country. Getting involved is a very, very important thing. And then I think, live right. Don't swear. I really don't, and I want you to know that. But I just couldn't help myself. I'll try to repent. I will clearly repent. Okay. Right behind this young woman, and then I'll come to you. There was one other. Did you have a clue? Okay, then you're the last one.
My name is Scott Nidinger. I work here. In order to get a handle on the budget, I think really what we need to make.
Speak a little louder, Scott.
In order to get a handle on the budget, I believe everyone knows we need to cut the budget. You can cut it in discretionary spending, or you can cut it in entitlements. How much do you think should be cut in discretionary spending and where, and how much in entitlements and how?
Keep in mind, discretionary spending, if you count the stimulus, gone up 84% in 2 years. 84%. Now he wants to freeze that level. Big deal. Okay? Discretionary spending is a very small part of the federal budget. We are going to have to go into entitlements. But you cannot, believe me, this is an absolute, you cannot do it just with one house in Congress or with one party in Congress. You cannot do it without presidential leadership. You can't. Because presidents will demagogue it every time. And people aren't going to do it. They know they're just going to be demagogued out of their seats and their reputations besmirched. It takes presidential leadership. Now, having said that, I like President Obama. He's well in the Senate. He's a charming man. He's an articulate man. He's a highly educated man. He is a very dynamic personality. But he is so far left that it's very unlikely that he's going to lead that charge. Okay? I don't want to offend all of you, but it's easy to see why I'm for Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney has the economic wherewithal background to help pull this country out of mess. Plus, he's tough enough. I mean, to be a Republican governor of Massachusetts, my gosh, you got to be tough. He was tough. And when he gets criticized, you got to factor into the fact he had a state legislature that was 85% opposed to everything he was trying to do. And yet he did do a lot of great things that were really remarkable under the circumstances. We have a lot of other really good presidential aspirants in the Republican Party against President Obama. And almost any one of them would be better than what we have right now. I'm serious now. I used to be a Democrat. I was a liberal Democrat through college. And I have to say that I've been repenting ever since. I once said in a big debate at BYU, there were about 2,000 people there, if I recall, with former Mayor Wilson. And this came up, and I was just quipping as I do. People don't think I have a sense of humor, you know, because I'm meeting these really tough fights all the time back there. And I said, well, I used to be a Democrat right here at this institution. I said, then I learned how to read and write, and I became a Republican. You know what? Everybody laughed. Roy, it was a lot of fun. I was just having fun. Next day, one of the major newspapers in the U.S. said, HD means every Democrat is being illiterate. Because I can't believe that a conservative can have a sense of humor. Well, I have a big sense of humor, but I'm also very serious. Look. The hope for this country is in you young people. It's in some of us older guys who have the responsibility right now and who still work their guts out and try to do what's right. Nobody outworks me. And I've got to tell you, and that's the way it's been all my life, and it's not going to change. But you guys have a future if you make a future for yourselves. You guys, if you get involved, you'll find that there are times you don't enjoy it, but for the most part, you're going to enjoy it. And you'll learn more. And you'll be more aware of what our needs are. For those of you who are Democrats and liberals, there are good things that come sometimes from the alternative points of view. Can't think of any right now, but in fact, there are some good things. There are some very sincere, decent, honorable people. I think President Obama is a sincere, honorable liberal. I really do. And I personally like Joe Biden. I know him really well. I sat right beside him on the Judiciary Committee for years. And I can say Joe's heart is a good heart. He's very liberal. And he really believes that liberal philosophy. And it's apparent that Barack Obama believes it as well. And all I can say is that in closing, I think one of the best things that's happened to our country in a number of years happens to be the rise of the Tea Party movement. Now, some of them don't like me. The fact is, they're so fed up with what's going on in this country that they decided to quit sitting on the sidelines and doing nothing about it. And I respect them. And admire them for doing it. We don't all have to agree on everything. If you find a person you agree on everything, I'm sure you're married or have been, and I'll bet you and your husband didn't agree on everything. Oh. Even Elaine and I don't agree on everything. In fact, she's usually right, I've got to admit. But the fact is that let's not be single-issue people. Let's do what's right for our country. As young people, let's get involved. Whether it's in the Democratic Party or Republican Party. I'd like you to be Republicans. No question about that. I'd be a liar if I said otherwise. And I think you would feel better if you're a Republican. But let me say, don't knock the Tea Party. I think they're having a good effect in this country, even though you can disagree with them on some things as well. But one thing they're doing is they're rising up and getting active and saying we've had enough. We've got to get this country back on track. Ultimately, that means we've got to have a president who leads. And that's very, very important. One last thing, and this is very important. I hope you'll pay attention. When President Obama took over, now, because this affects every one of you, you're going to be paying through the nose for this type of profligacy. Okay? And you'll notice that the states that are in trouble are blue states on the West Coast, on the East Coast, and by God, the worst of all, Illinois. It's got more problems than California right now, in the eyes of many. The fact of the matter is, they're blue states. Now, they want all the rest of us to have to kick in so we can pay for their profligacy. Utah is the #1 state in the union as far as watching its funds and doing what's right. Both Democrats and Republicans. And why should we be called upon to pay for the profligacy of these states that won't get spending under control? Now, you might think about that, those of you who are Democrats. You might think,